Krishna dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances always to share Prabhupada. Thank you all for joining to His Holiness Candramauli Swami Maharaj's daily call. Today Maharaj is not available to give class, so today's speaker will be His Grace Candramauli Prabhuji. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances always to share Prabhupada. All glories to Guru Maharaj. So Prabhuji is going to speak on the topic of Bhagavad Gita. So Prabhuji, please take over. Shall I share my screen?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much for inviting me to speak today. I feel very honored to be with all of Guru Maharaj's disciples and well-wishers. So thank you so much. Mataji, I feel it's like when we get asked to speak, we think we should always take the opportunity if we're not doing something else. So I was thinking, this is because this is what we live for. We live for sharing Krishna. And in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna's encouraging us at the end when he's saying to Arjuna that those who share this secret of the Bhagavad Gita with everyone else, no one is more dear to me than he. So it's like we're always trying to become dear to Krishna. So for my purification, hopefully we can share something on the Bhagavad Gita. So in terms of sharing a verse, I was thinking maybe we could just think of a verse together. Maybe we could do 247.
Yes, for a minute. Yeah.
Thank you so much. So here's Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, text 47, very famous verse. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay, so chapter 2, text 47. Kamanyavadikaraste mafaleshu kadachana makarma falla heturbur mate sangosta karmani. Okay, translation. You have a right to perform your prescribed duty, but you are not entitled to the fruits of action. Never consider yourself the cause of the result of your activities and never be attached to not doing your duty. Purport. There are three considerations here: prescribed work, capricious work, and inaction. Prescribed duties are activities enjoined in terms of one's acquired modes of material nature. Capricious work means actions without the sanction of authority, and inaction means not performing one's prescribed duties. The Lord advised that Arjuna not be inactive, but that he perform his prescribed duty without being attached to the result. One who is attached to the result of his work is also the cause of the action. Thus, he is the enjoyer or sufferer of the result of such actions. As far as prescribed duties are concerned, they can be fitted into three subdivisions, namely routine work, emergency work, and desired activities. Routine work performed as an obligation in terms of the scriptural injunctions without desire for results is action in the mode of goodness. Work with results becomes the cause of bondage. Therefore, such work is not auspicious. Everyone has his proprietary right in regard to prescribed duties, but should act without attachment to the result. Such disinterested obligatory duties doubtlessly lead one to the path of liberation. Arjuna was therefore advised by the Lord to fight as a matter of duty without attachment to the result. His non-participation in the battle is another side of attachment. Such attachment never leads one to the path of salvation. Any attachment, positive or negative, is cause for bondage. Inaction is sinful. Therefore, fighting as a matter of duty was the only auspicious path of salvation for Arjuna. Thank you very much. We'll just chant the Mangalacharan prayers and have some discussion on this verse. Om Gyan Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajataham Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Panchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay, so thank you. Maybe we can just have the gallery view so that we can just see everyone. Okay, great. Okay, and if you can switch on your cameras, that would be very much appreciated. To see the devotees is a great honor, a great blessing. Hare Krishna. Jai. So here we are, the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2. What is happening in chapter 2? So Arjuna, in chapter 1, he has displayed all his doubts. He's saying to Krishna, look, not for me. This fight, I thought it was for me. That's why I got on the chariot. I was up for this. But now that I've seen Bhishma, I've seen Drona, I've seen my relatives, not a good idea, my lord. I'm not going to fight. Hey, Govinda, I will not fight. And he puts down his Gandiva bow and he's just not up for it. It's like, why should I? Why should I fight and kill my relatives? What's the point of that? I mean, I kill my relatives. If I win the kingdom, then like, who am I going to enjoy it with? Because everyone I would enjoy it with, they will be killed. They'll be killed. And if I don't win the kingdom, I'm dead. So he's saying to Krishna, look, I'm going to lose or I'm going to lose. Either way, I'm going to be the loser. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to renounce this and I'm just going to hop to the forest and meditate. I'm just going to be a yogi. Forget this battle. I'm going to be a yogi. And Krishna listens to him. Just hears him out. And then Arjuna at some point just realizes, look, I'm just totally confused. I'm just like, I just don't know what to do. Karpanya doso pata sabhava prichamitam dharma samudacheta yachayachan nishchitam ruhitan me sishyasteham satimam tvam prapanam. I'm so confused about my duty. I do not know what to do. I am coming to you, Krishna. I'm surrendering to you. Please instruct me what I should do. And this is what can happen. Sometimes we should learn the art of not interrupting. Krishna didn't interrupt Arjuna. He just let him speak for some time. He heard him. And then at the end of Arjuna's displaying all these doubts, Arjuna then said, okay, Krishna, I need your help. I need you to tell me what I should do, what I shouldn't do. And Krishna hears him out and starts to instruct Arjuna on the matter of the soul. He says, look, you're not even this body. What's your big hang up about killing? When we're not even this body. At the moment, you're identifying yourself as this body. Arjuna is saying, look, should I be a Kshatriya or should I be a Kurunandana? Should I be a warrior and kill all these people, or is my dharma to look after I'm from this heritage, I'm from this lineage, and should I be not killing them for the sake of preserving the lineage? And Krishna is saying, look, go above these bodily designations and act on the platform of the soul. So he instructs Arjuna on the topics of the soul. And after he instructs Arjuna on the topics of the soul, he gives Arjuna some reasons why, actually, you know what, you're not in a lose-lose situation, you're in a win-win situation. Because even from a material perspective, if you win the war, then you got the kingdom. And if you lose, then you're going to heaven because you died on the battlefield. So he's trying to give Arjuna some reasons as to actually, he's counteracting Arjuna's arguments. Why is he counteracting Arjuna's arguments? Because Arjuna has put Krishna in that position, in the sense that Arjuna has told Krishna he's willing to accept his wisdom. So sometimes we are very keen to impart our, what they call 2 pence in England. I don't know, do they call it do rupiah in India, or do paisa? We just want to give our opinion when it's not wanted. Do we do that sometimes? It's like someone comes to you just wanting to be heard, and we just tell them what to do, but they don't want you to tell them what to do. But in this situation, it's different because Arjuna has said to Krishna, I'm taking you as my guru. I want you to instruct me. I am now your disciple. So if a devotee approaches us saying, okay, please help me with this, what do you think? What's your opinion? Then we can try to give some advice. We can try. But ultimately, what's really good is if we can help devotees come to their own realization, if we can help devotees, it's something that therapists learn. I'm sure Sri Devi Mataji will be able to talk more about this, but what therapists learn is how to help the client come to their own insights. So similarly, when we're helping devotees, if we help devotees come to their own realizations about what will be best for them, and we can guide them, we can help them on their journey to understanding what will be better for them, and giving some spiritual guidance in that, that is what we can really do for devotees, because then it's their thought out solution. You know, sometimes we come up with solutions for others that may not work for them. You know, it just may not work for them. And we're looking at it from our perspective, and we may not be seeing things from their perspective. But here, Arjuna is saying, look, Krishna, I'm totally surrendered to you. What should I do? And sometimes we might be in situations where devotees may approach us, new devotees, experienced devotees may approach us and say, what's your opinion? What would you do if you were in my position? You know, something like that. And when this happens, we shouldn't shy away from trying to help the devotees. We should really, or we can really give a lot to Krishna's devotees by engaging and giving time. So Krishna gave time. He's in the middle of a battlefield. He didn't say to Arjuna, you know, like, for example, if my daughter starts crying in the morning and she needs to get ready for school, a lot of the time I'm like, not now. You know, just get ready, have your breakfast. It's time to go to school. You know, so Krishna could have said to Arjuna, not now. You want to worry about all this? How about you do this? You kill all these people, and we can talk for the rest of the year. But he says, Arjun starts having these doubts, and Krishna just gives him some time. He gives him some time. And actually, a lot of the time, devotees get frustrated because they feel other devotees don't have time for them. Does anyone notice that? Or we ever felt upset when we want to take guidance or take some sort of um, some yeah, we want to take guidance, take some time from some devotees, some that can help us, and we feel that they brush us off. And when that feeling of being brushed off can do a lot of damage. It can really hurt someone because already they're coming to you because they've probably been brushed off by someone else, or they've been hurt by someone else, or not been treated correctly by someone else. So Krishna says to Arjuna in the verse that we just chanted, Karmanyavadikaraste, that look, you have a right to perform your prescribed duty. Do what you're meant to do. And he says, but you're not entitled to the fruits of action. So this is very important, actually. I remember some years back, and I was thinking to myself, you know, I'm trying so hard. I'm trying so hard to please everyone, but no one's appreciating me. And because no one is appreciating me, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it because no one's appreciating me. And I spoke to one senior devotee, and the devotee said to me, you have a right to perform your prescribed duty. And I was thinking, yes, but I don't want this duty. And he said that you are doing your duty not for that other person, whether you're a husband, whether you're a father, whether you're an employee, whether you're a son, you're doing your duty because it's good for you. And I was like, whoa, I never thought of it like that. I thought I'm doing my duty for my wife because I'm doing it to please her. I thought I'm doing my duty as a parent to please my kids. I thought I'm doing my duty as a son to please my parents. I thought I'm doing my duty as an employee to please my employer. I thought all my duties I'm doing is to please the other person. But actually, my duty I'm doing because it's good for me. Whether the other person appreciates me or not, I've got to do my duty. And I felt that that conversation I had with this devotee was a profound moment in my life where I realized that actually I'm doing my duty because it's good for me. I'm practicing Krishna consciousness because it's good for me. I mean, yes, we want to please Krishna. We want unconditional love for Krishna. This is true, and that is the goal. But to get to the goal, sometimes we got to walk before we can run, as they say. What does it say? Yeah, you need to learn how to walk before you can run, something like that. I don't remember the phrase so well. But we need to learn how to stand up and walk before we can run. And therefore, sometimes instead of just thinking straight, I need to get love of Godhead today. I need love of Godhead now. And because we can't feel love of Godhead now, we start complaining and moaning and getting all despondent about the situation we're in now. And we don't sometimes, well, anyway, I can speak for myself. I don't realize that doing my karma or doing my duty is actually really good for me. So if I'm going to serve my wife, it's good for me whether she appreciates me or not. If I'm going to serve my children, you know, sometimes I think to myself, like, is it all worth it? You know, gymnastics class, swimming class. Now Keshavi started crochet club. Revati wants to go to yoga club. It's like just Lakshmi going here that you work so hard. It's like, I'm thinking, is it all worth it? Will they ever grow up and say, Papa, thank you. You did all this swimming class for me. Papa, you did this gym. No, I can't remember when I went to my mom and dad and said, oh, thank you for doing tennis class. Thank you for sending me on that skiing trip. It's just kind of like you're a kid and you grow up. And it's like what parents do for you is what they're just doing. There's no kind of, um, and actually sometimes I even think, well, they're my parents. Of course they're going to do things for me. Like, of course they're going to, why do they even have me if they just wanted to just leave me on the corner? They're going to do things to occupy me. So the similar, now that I'm a father, it's like, I can't expect one day Keshav is going to say, Papa, thank you so much. You sent me for swimming classes. And Revati will come and say, Papa, thank you so much. You're sending me for Bharatnatyam classes. No. So if I'm going to do things just to get that result, to get that appreciation, then I might think, I don't want to do it. Forget it. I don't want to do it. And Krishna knows that people will think like this. He knows that people will think like this. So what does he say? Mate sangos takarmani. Do not be attached to not doing your duty. It's like, oh my God, I got to do my duty. There's nowhere for us to go. Prabhus and Matajis. There's nowhere for us to go. We got to do our dharma. We got to do our duty, because Krishna is telling us it's good for us. It's good for us. We're doing our dharma because it's good for us. We're practicing our dharma because it's good for us. And if you don't want to do our dharma, well, Krishna is saying, don't run away from your duty either. Because running away from your duty is not going to help. And he's basically saying to Arjun, look, if you go to the forest and you try and be a yogi, it's not going to last. It's not going to last. And what will happen is you will go to the forest, you will notice some injustice in the forest. And because you're a Kshatriya, you'll notice this injustice, then you'll try and protect people in the forest. You'll fight, you'll get into some fight in the forest, because your dharma as a Kshatriya is to protect. You'll do what's natural to you. You will do what is natural to you. So therefore, it's better you do your dharma where you're meant to do your dharma, which is here on the battlefield in Kurukshetra. We can't artificially renounce our duty. Sometimes, someone who's sick of their job will think, I just going to leave this job. And sometimes we do need to leave our job. This is true. But then you notice that you leave your job and go to another job and it's the same sort of stuff. And then you leave your job and go to another job and it's the same sort of stuff. I remember I went through a phase, because I qualified as an accountant, I went through a phase of working in one accountancy practice, then 6 months later moved to another accountancy practice, then sometime moved to another. Then I was just thinking, what is wrong? I only then later realized that actually my dharma is like, I'm not really an accountant. I like accounting, but actually I'm more of a teacher. So then I realized, why don't I try and bring the two together? So I teach accounting. So now that I teach accounting, I've managed to stay steady for the last 12 years, because this is more me. So once we find what's us, then it's easier to stick to our dharma in terms of occupation. If we decided to get married and have children, then it's Krishna saying, don't be attached to not doing your duty. So I can't just say, hey, bye Keshavi, bye Revati, I'm off, see you later, because then I'm not doing my duty. So we have a lot of misconceptions of the philosophy. And one big misconception I found myself in is that I'm not doing my dharma for anyone else. I'm doing it for myself so I can become purified, I can become steady. And if I'm steady, if I'm purified, and if I'm doing my dharma, then I can connect with Krishna. And I can practice Krishna consciousness. If I keep running away from my dharmas, then I'm never going to be steady. My mind is going to be unsteady. And that's what he's saying to Arjuna. If you keep running away, you're not going to get anywhere in life. If you run from this battlefield, you're going to be, and he says to Arjuna, everyone will think you're just a coward. Everyone will think you're just a coward. How could you just run? They'll just think you're a useless fighter, you're a coward, that you couldn't fight. And Krishna's encouraging him, Utishta Bharata, get up, fight, do this. So he's saying to us, don't get despondent about your duties, because our duties is what will keep us in the mode of goodness, so that we can then practice Krishna consciousness. If we run away from our dharma, we will then get entrapped in lower modes. And these lower modes, as Prabhupada speaks about in the purport, is when we're seeking results. Why isn't that person appreciating me? Well, okay, they may appreciate us, they may not appreciate us, but are we dependent on their appreciation to do what's good for us? And maybe the appreciation is not coming because Krishna wants to see whether we're going to carry on or not, despite not getting the validation and appreciation that we do want. Maybe. And if we look at it from the other side, if we know that appreciation is so inspiring, then are we givers of appreciation? Are we appreciating others when they do things for us? Do we have as Bhakti Tirthamar says, the attitude of gratitude? Do we have that grateful attitude that I'm so grateful, I'm so grateful for what I have in my life, and that when things are difficult, I can try and see the lesson. When things are going well, I don't get carried away with how things are going well, and I stay humble. Or am I getting too caught up in thinking I'm such a wonderful devotee? There's a story of this Brahmana that I just heard this today actually, that can you not hear me, Sridevi Mataji? Am I audible? It's okay, yeah. I just heard this today, that there was a Brahmana and that he was very strict, that at every Sandhyam, he'd make sure he did his Gayatri at the right time, the morning Gayatri, the afternoon Gayatri, the evening Gayatri. Every Gayatri he did at the right time. Never ever missed the right time, that window for doing his Gayatri. Never ever missed it. And then once he dozed off in the middle of the day, and Kali woke him up. Kali woke him up and said, hey, wake up and do your Gayatri. So this Brahmana got up and did his Gayatri. Got his Brahmana thread out, did his Gayatri. So he did his Gayatri, and then he said to Kali, hey, you're Kali. You're meant to take people away from religiosity. You're meant to take people away from auspiciousness. So why is it that you've woken me up so that I do my Gayatri? Then Kali said, I woke you up so you do your Gayatri because that way you keep thinking you're a very good devotee. This way you keep thinking you're a very good devotee because you've never missed one. If you missed your Gayatri, maybe you would start questioning if you're a good devotee or not. Maybe then you'd become humble. And if you become humble, you become dear to Krishna. So better I just wake you up and you do your Gayatri and you carry on thinking you're an amazing devotee. So are we doing this? We can ask ourselves, are we doing this? Look at me every morning. I wake up at this time. Look at me every week I'm preaching. Look at me every day. Every day I'm reading 20 minutes and I'm showing it off every day. Look at me, I'm shaving my head. Look at me, I'm wearing tilak. How much are we in that mentality? Or are we in the mentality of amanena manadena, which is give respect to all others and don't expect any respect in return? Now, one of them is very hard. The hard one is not expecting respect from others. That's like, it's an elevated stage to be at, to not expect respect, to think of oneself. Even the rest of the verse, if we think, Trinadapi sunichana, if we're more humble than a blade of grass, more tolerant than a tree, are we not expecting respect from others? These are elevated stages of devotion. This is why actually Guru Maharaj, he a lot of the time, this is the verse, he kind of thinks, "Phew, this is it, this is the verse." We've got the Shikshashtakam prayers, but this third verse is so important. Even in the different temples around the world, even if they don't chant the whole Shikshashtakam prayers, anyway, I know definitely here at the manor, we chant this third verse every day. Kirtaniya Sadahari, can we chant the holy, and because of all these things, if we do all these things, then we can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. But one thing in this verse that we can do is give all respect to others. We can do that. Just be respectful to everyone else. And if we're respectful to everyone else, the other things can come naturally. The other things can naturally come when I'll feel humble like a blade of grass. When will I feel tolerant like a tree? When will I not expect respect from others? These things we have to kind of be patient. When the heart is purified, we'll naturally get there. But one thing we can do now, we don't need to be patient. We can just do it, which is just give respect to others. And if we do something in that verse, then Krishna will reciprocate. And then one day we'll get to that place of Kirtaniya Sadahari, be able to chant the holy names of the Lord constantly. But giving respect is so important. And actually a lot of our, when it comes to performing our prescribed duty, if we carry out our duties respectfully, then we are doing our duty in the right way. If we do our duty resentfully, then we're not really doing our duty. Now, can you imagine a mother, she comes home and her duty, in one sense, I mean, one of the duties of a mother is, and I hope I'm not being sexist here, but we can say in the 21st century, we have to, nowadays at least, clarify our points, but hopefully it's not a sexist thing. But generally, the duty of the mother is to feed the children. And imagine she came home from picking the children up from school and she said, "Here, come here now." And she gets things out the fridge, boom, 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 eat this. In one sense, she could say, "I've done my duty. I've fed my child." But she didn't do that respectfully. And if she didn't feed her child respectfully, then would we say she's carried out her duty? No. If the husband goes to work and he comes home and starts shouting at the family, "Look, I've been at work all day. You know how hard it is. I'm earning money. You're all just going to school. You're just here looking after children, just sitting around, faffing around with your life. And I'm working so hard. This roof over your head, there's a food on your table. It's because I'm going to work." Who the hell are you? What are you doing? And if the husband does that, in one sense, yeah, he's gone to work, he's providing shelter, he's gone and doing his duty, but he's not doing it respectfully. And if he's not respectfully doing his duty, then is he really doing his duty? One would say. So actually, one thing that we understand from performing our duty is we want to relate with others, with those who are related to us in our duty, because naturally our duties have other human beings involved. This should be done respectfully for it to be even considered as us doing our duty. If we're doing our duty with resentment, then it's not really taking us to the mode of goodness, it's keeping us in the mode of passion. And the modes are very, very, the modes are not one or the other. All three modes are always there, actually, but there's always a dominant mode. And if the dominant mode is passion, then what can happen very easily is that ignorance then can follow. The dominant mode will become ignorance, because what happens in the mode of passion, we become very frustrated. And when we become very frustrated, then we become a bit delusional, get angry, and then we're heading into the mode of ignorance. And then we're very, very far away from our duty, because then when we're in the mode of ignorance, what's the next step? The father will think, "To hell with it. I'm not going to work for you guys." Or, "I'll go to work, but I'm not going to look after you." The mother will think, "To hell with it. I'm not going to feed you anymore. You don't appreciate anyway." So in this way, then we can go to the mode of ignorance. But if we go to the mode of goodness, which is to perform our duty for our sake in a respectful way. And actually, it's not selfish to think that I'm doing the duty for myself. It's not selfish. Sometimes as devotees, we get so caught up in being selfless, we actually lose our brains, because we actually don't realize it's good to do things for ourselves, because doing things for ourselves means we'll be able to serve better. So to be respectful to others is good for us, and to have that consciousness that it's good for us is good for us. We shouldn't run away from something being good for us, because if we look after ourselves in this way, then naturally we can serve the Vaishnavas. How can we serve if we ourselves are in a crazy place? How can we give ourselves to Prabhupada if we trample on everyone else? Prabhupada says, it said that Prabhupada has made a house that's big enough for the whole world. It's big enough for all of us. So if you trample on half the people so that you can be in the house, well, you're actually making the house smaller because you're trampling on half the people to be in there yourself. But if we want the house to be big enough for everyone, we should do our duties respectfully. And even if we have disagreement, we can have disagreement without disrespect. The main thing is, if we have our duties, and I'll probably summarize here and finish, that if we have our, as a point for this, a summary for this discussion, that we can perform our duties with respect, that the duties we are doing, we should understand that these duties are good for us. Krishna says, you have a right to perform your prescribed duty. Krishna is saying to Arjuna that you are doing your duty because it's good for you. So if we understand doing our duty is good for us, respectfully relating to others means we're doing our duties in the mode of goodness. And by being situated in this way, therefore not running away from our duties, therefore being situated in this way in the mode of goodness, we can then be on the platform to practice bhakti, to serve the Vaishnavas in a steady state of mind. So I will finish here. I will like to ask Srimati Mataji to open it up for the devotees to also give and share their realizations and comments. And thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. I was just wondering like what you are going to speak, but you spoke such a nice topic, which we all can relate, I guess. Myself, I am very much, I was resonating with what you were saying. Thank you so much for bringing this topic. So it gives like work to the brain to think what actually we are doing. Thank you so much. Dear devotees, please ask questions. Silpesh Prabhu, you can please go ahead. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hey, Haribo, Supashru.
Yeah, this is a huge chapter. This always gets me, this chapter. I can never get my head around it. And you've done an amazing job, actually. Really giving me a lot of insights today. And it's like, you have Arjun, he's the most brilliant warrior there is. He's a great disciple, and his wingman is God, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he's faced with this huge, huge dilemma, which I can understand, because, you're about to enter a battle, you're meant to kill people and so forth. But, in my everyday life, I get very, very stuck trying to figure out, what my duties or my dharma is. And even trying to, just do those small tasks that need doing, the day-to-day stuff. It's like, sometimes life is just so overwhelming. And that's why, sometimes it's hard to relate. I can understand Arjun's dilemma because he's on the actual battlefield. But we're just trying to deal with mundane stuff and we find it difficult, day to day. And it's just trying to figure out what your dharma is, what your duty is. But yeah, that just feels stuck sometimes, very, very stuck. And, you try, like you said, you try to do your best. And you need to nourish yourself as well. I think that's one big thing I got from this, that, you can't just be serving people all the time because it doesn't work. You break yourself. It's a big one. It's a big one, but you've really helped enlighten me on this topic more than anyone has so far on this chapter too. But a long way to go still me to fully get it.
Thank you for your kind words, Supresh Prabhu. Yeah, it's a very, actually Krishna is the he's the ultimate everything. He's the ultimate everything. And here in this chapter, the reason it can be confusing is it's kind of like the Bhagavad Gita is like this. Arjuna comes to Krishna with all his problems. And then Krishna, what he does is he kind of says everything straight away. You're not the body, you're the soul. These are the reasons you should fight. Try and be resolute in your determination. He even mentions himself in 2.61. He even says, that I'm do it for me. So he brings everything into it. And then at the end of the chapter, he talks about the characteristics of a pure devotee. So what happens is when you're giving, when someone comes for advice, generally what happens is you say everything, and then it kind of breaks down. Then chapter 3, Arjun has some questions like, hey, you said I should fight, but at the same time you said I should be peaceful. How do you do both at the same time? Which one should I do? And then Krishna gets into karma yoga, etc. So what happens is that he says everything in chapter 2, which is why it can sometimes feel confusing, because it's all there. That's why it's contents of the Gita summarized. The whole of the Bhagavad Gita, in one sense, is in chapter 2. And then he says everything, chapters 3 to 17. And then by the time we get to chapter 18, he summarizes it all again. And that's kind of what we do when we give advice, is that we say our main points, then it breaks into a conversation, and we clarify points and go into detail. And at the end, we come up with some sort of conclusion. So this is why chapter 2 can be like that, because it's all happening. Everything is actually all there in chapter 2. But yeah, so it's all exciting stuff. If we and the point you made about sometimes we don't know what our dharma is. So sometimes we just need to we just need to prioritize. Like, for example, let's say you have a dharma of being an employee, and you have a dharma of being a father. So if you have a dharma of being an employee, then you want to get to work on time every day, and I have to serve my boss. I have to do that. That's my dharma as an employee. I've also got a dharma as a father. So if tomorrow one of my children gets sick, and at the same time I have to be at work for a meeting, then naturally what will happen, I'm going to be putting my dharma as a father above my dharma as an employee. So that way we can prioritize which dharma we need to do first. I'm going to take my kid to the doctors. That's more important than me getting to the work meeting on time. So naturally we have this. So in that way, we don't have to feel, we don't need to worry so much about what's my dharma. We actually know them. It's just that sometimes we don't allow ourselves to do all our dharmas, because we get overwhelmed with how much we've got to do. But we can just prioritize. Okay, fine, I'm going to have to take my kid to the doctor. I won't be able to do my dharma of being a employee. Just like Lord Ram, he had the ultimate dharma dilemma. He had to, because he came here as Maryada Purushottam, he came here to show what it means to be an ideal king. He had to send his wife away. He had to send Sita away because he came here to establish what it meant to be an ideal king. It didn't mean he wasn't a loving husband, but that was the dharma he had to prioritize, because that's why he came. So we can try and prioritize our dharma, and this is why we need spiritual guidance, spiritual friends, spiritual association to help us understand which dharmas to prioritize and when. I hope that helps, makes some sense.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Very cool.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Scarlett Mataji, you want to go ahead?
Hare Krishna, and thank you for a wonderful class. I am new in the movement, and I read a lot, and I learn very much from the books how to do. And in Nectar of Devotions, talking about how to do your duty, devotional service, and so on. And I also have learned that the respect. It should be with the respect. Also, that I have learned. But what I wonder, is it so that only me have to have respect for others, the authority, and so on, and the authority doesn't need to have respect for anyone, just do whatever and behave however, it's okay, and everybody else has to be quiet and just do their duty. Is it so that you have to do it in this way because it's your dharma or it's your karma, or is it wrong the way it's going on? You understand what I mean?
Yeah, so you're saying that should we, so you understand from that we should be doing our duties respectfully, and you're saying, well, what about the authorities? Do they also need to be respectful, or are they allowed to just
Within
get
the
away?
movement, yes, within the movement.
Within the
Not
movement,
the
okay.
authority that
So
they don't.
I'm gonna ask you a question, Mataji. What do you think? Do you think the authorities should be respectful or not?
I believe it should be.
They should be.
Because I'm
Do you think?
learning from them.
Do you think there's a different shastra, a different scripture for those who are authorities, and a different one
No,
for everyone else?
no,
It's the
I
same.
don't
It's the
believe
same. It's the same books.
Yes,
It's the same verses. Tanada Pi
yes,
Sunichana.
I
It's the
believe.
same verses. So
Yes,
so then it should be the same. You're right.
but when it happened,
Yeah.
do I just hold my mouth shut and just do whatever I can, my services, and don't care about anything else, and just accept this person going and putting whatever? You understand what I mean?
I think it's very important we become self-aware. So try and think first about, why is it bothering you? What is it inside that? Why is it bothering you first? And if you realize that actually, is it bothering me because this is triggering something in me? You know, like it's just me. Is it just something in me? Or is it something that actually needs to be escalated because this certain person is treating others who are under their care in a manipulative or in a condescending manner? So that we need to use our intelligence, and once we spent time thinking about it and contemplating, and if we realize that it's us, we can work on ourselves, and that's the most important thing. But at the same time, if that person is a threat, if that person is doing something that can harm others, not just ourselves, then of course this should be escalated and brought up, so that no one else is also hurt in the same way as us. He says, Prabhupada says in the purport, inaction is sinful. So it's like, if you've witnessed a crime, it's also an offense not to report it. Correct? You can't just like, oh. So at the same time, if you see something that after contemplation, you come to a realization actually that this person is dangerous, this person is a threat, this person is not treating others rightly, and this is going to be more harmful for our movement long term, then yeah, we should do something.
Can I ask another question?
Yeah.
I'm mother of 6 children. They're all adults.
They're all adults. Okay, yeah.
Adults, yes.
Yeah.
My youngest is now 26, and my oldest is 40. In my culture in Iran, my children are my children, like still little children.
Babies.
When they need help, they know that they can't count on me. And I still sometimes they still come to me and ask for advice for different things, and I do help them. But sometimes it could happen that because my children live in different state, so it can happen that the day my son asked, Mom, can I meet you because I need to talk to you about something, then it could cross the same day that I have a class. We say I have a class. What to do and how to without without doing anything wrong to either of them? Do I choose to help my son, or do I say, I'm so sorry, not this time, you're on your own, and just attend my class?
The reason we're practicing Krishna consciousness is so we become purified and we become ambassadors of love. We become ambassadors of Krishna's love. We want to connect to Krishna's love and give it to everyone. So if you meet your son and you help him and you give him Krishna's love, he will become attracted to Krishna. And then you can do your class later that day. You can do your class the next day. But if it's just one day that you can give all this that you've received to someone else, and they then become attracted to Krishna's love because they know that my mom, she's practicing Krishna consciousness, she's giving me her love, and this love is coming from Krishna, then naturally they'll become attracted more. So we don't always have to neglect everyone around us to be Krishna conscious. Being Krishna conscious means we're watering the roots so that we can give that love to everyone.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Sridevi Mataji, please go ahead. Thank you, Scarlett Mataji.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Srimati, for giving me permission. And thank you, Kanchanabja Prabhu. Your classes are so deep and thought-provoking, especially how practical examples that you were giving. It really brought home a lot of my own parenting and how in Krishna consciousness we actually get a chance to change these things which are not helpful for us, you know. This thing of throwing a weight around as the father and the mother and, you know, dominating the kids and telling them off and feeling very powerful. Actually, all these things are so much under the modes of material nature that when we come to Krishna consciousness, we actually get a chance to get rid of all this baggage, you know.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking aloud about how much purification when we come into Krishna consciousness with all these kind of family legacies. We have so much purification that we need to undergo, you know, in order to really become the humble, respectful servant. Ultimately, I am just a servant. And this concept is so alien, you know, until we come to Krishna consciousness. And it's like a huge thing to make that paradigm shift first and then practice those qualities. So I really was, you know, it resonated with me, what you were saying. The second thing you were saying was that really, you know, resonated with me was how Krishna really listens. You know, Krishna is really listening, and how we must practice those listening skills when people come to us so that they get a chance to air their grievances in a non-judgmental, completely trustworthy, confidential atmosphere, which is the best gift we can give, because we are giving ourselves and our time in that moment to that person. So very useful points for me to reflect on. So thank you, Prabhu. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sridevi Mataji. Yeah, this concept of being a servant, it's so alien. I remember when I first came into Krishna consciousness, and you know, at that time, you know, I'm sure it happens for everyone, or most of us, if we were the first in the family, that my parents were like panicking, angry, you know, like, oh my God, what are you doing? You know, just like going. And I remember once I printed an email because I was organizing an event. And I wrote, your servant Kunal. My name was Kunal before I took initiative. Your servant. What is this? Your servant business? Your servant. What are you doing? You know, it's just like it's like a total alien. Why? You know, we're trying to work hard so we can have servants, and now you want to go and be a servant. What the hell's wrong with you? I remember this is spiritual life where we're shifting the dynamics. So yeah, thank you, Sridevi Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Brajvilasni Mataji, you want to ask your question?
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you so
Krishna.
much. Your class is always, I guess, a practical. I really love your points to making it. The one point I like about that, do your duty without preceding from others, and just like it's good for you for yourself. And I really see that. I say, yeah, because I always like, I'm doing so much work here at my home, and no one's appreciating for anything. I'm always thinking about that. But now what the situation I'm going through these days now, I'm seeing that how my sons are like helping me, and they are appreciating from me everything, what I'm doing, and they're helping me, because right now at 24 hours my mom needed
Mataji,
I cannot able to go to work if they don't help me out. Or you can hear me? Can you hear me?
yeah, your voice is on and off, like going low and up.
Okay, sorry.
If you can
Yeah,
talk a little bit slow, I think it will be okay.
Sorry. Yeah, my speech is kind of little fast. I get
It's go down
fearful, so
again.
scared. Let me just- Can you hear me now? Hello, Hare Krishna.
Yeah, it's very low, Mataji, but yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, so day-to-day life, I see it that how appreciating with without accepting from others, and when you do perform your duties, it comes back whenever it times comes, it always comes back. So I just want to share my realization with what I'm going through right now, and you always giving out so much wonderful good point as a practical life. So I really like it. Thank you so much. Give more often those classes, Prabhuji. We will look forward to seeing more. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for encouragement, Mataji. Yeah, we can see, because whenever there's a class, you're in the kitchen cutting some vegetables, chopping something, cooking something. So yeah, you're a Vaishnavi, always doing her duty. So it's nice to see it all in action. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Namrata Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna.
Hey, Hare Krishna.
Humble obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. I wanted to ask, very first thing, the wonderful class. I mean, always fond of your class. But today's class, I really like the transition you took from karma to the not getting attached to the results, then artificial renouncement, then to the level of respect, and the levels were very good. The transitions were very good. So thank you for the class. Very first thing that came to my mind was, when we talk about self-respect, I many times wonder, is this term, I mean, do we have to think about self-respect when it comes to Krishna consciousness, or is it just the material term? I mean, when we think about self-respect, is it connected to our self-ego? I just many times wonder this. So can you help me,
Yeah, thank you. Self-respect. I mean, the thing that came to my mind when you said that question was, do you think Krishna wants you to be respected, or does he just want everyone else to be respected? What do you think?
Yeah, he wants everyone else to be respected.
But does he want you to be respected? Does he want you to be respected? Do you deserve some respect?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we don't want to say it because we think it's selfish, but actually we don't want to expect it. We don't want to expect respect. We don't want to live on that expectation of respect. But Krishna wants everyone else to respect us, right? Because if we're meant to respect everyone, that means everyone is meant to respect us, but we're just not meant to expect that respect. So what that means is that we are carrying out our dharma without the expectation of a result, which means we're doing our dharma above the mode of passion. We're doing our dharma in the mode of goodness. Now, we're not expecting that respect from everyone else, from anyone else, But if we don't respect ourselves, we won't be able to respect everyone else. This is actually a big reason why we struggle. If we don't respect ourselves, then how will we actually respect everyone if we don't think ourselves are worthy ourselves? So, for example, you may think that you don't deserve respect, but do you think your child deserves respect? Do you think your children should be treated with respect? Yeah, they're your children. Yeah, and those children are just extensions of yourself in one sense. They've come from you. So actually, what is self-respect? Self-respect doesn't mean we go on an ego trip. Self-respect doesn't mean that I'm a somebody and you should do Guru Puja for me whenever you see me. Self-respect just means we're going to take care of ourselves, and if we take care of ourselves, we can take care of others, and we can therefore practice our Krishna consciousness better. Sri Devi Mataji's also got her hand up, and I'm wondering if she has a comment to make about this, because she's an expert. So please also add something, Sri Devi Mataji.
No, I'm not expert or anything. I wanted to actually tell all of us about a real expert, His Grace Mahatma Prabhu, who does a lot of workshops, retreats. I just finished an online retreat with Mahatma Prabhu where he talks about self-acceptance, self-love, self-compassion, self-respect. And he says that unless we take very good care of ourselves, unless we love and accept ourselves, unless we show compassion and respect for ourselves, how are we going to be compassionate, respectful, loving, accepting of others? When I'm okay with who I am, then I can be okay with who you are. But when I'm not okay, then everyone around me is not okay, because everyone is triggering me, upsetting me, annoying me, hurting me, disappointing me, letting me down, etc. Because I'm very reactive still. There's still some healing work to be done. So I wanted to just share that if you can get an opportunity to attend Mahatma Prabhu's seminars, they're really, really transformational, and you can make big breakthroughs actually in Anartha Nivritti. So just wanted to humbly offer that. That's all.
Thank you, Sri Devi Mataji. Yeah, Mahatma Prabhu is amazing. Even his Japa affirmations book, it's so good. Like, some of us must have it, but if we don't have it, it's so good. It's like, it's just, you see chanting in a different, you can read one affirmation like 3-4 minutes before you chant your rounds, and it's like, whew, amazing, so different. But yeah, thank you, Sri Devi Mataji. And Namrata Mataji, does that make sense? Does that?
Yes. Thanks to both of you. I think that helped a lot, and yeah, got me clear of. I think it should be there. There should be an area where which you have built. You don't have to, let others cross that thing in the name of, just in the name of duties or whatever. You have to protect yourself for giving it to others.
Yeah.
Am I understanding it right?
Yeah, exactly. We look after ourselves with the consciousness that we want to be das anudas das. We want to be this das, but how do I get there? And if we try and do spiritual bypassing, we won't get there. We can't bypass our own needs to please everyone else. But if we look to take care of ourselves so that I can be a better servant in that consciousness, then it's Krishna conscious. It's not just about our own ego. We want to take care of ourselves so that we can take care of others better. We want to look after ourselves so we can serve others better. The consciousness should still be to serve Guru and the Vaishnavas. That should be but we need to, this is an aspect of serving Guru and the Vaishnavas. Otherwise, by bypassing it, we'll try to serve the Vaishnavas and we'll get offended. We'll try to serve the Guru and we'll get offended. And therefore we won't be able to make the progress. We'll be like, oh, Guru Maharaj said this to me, or this devotee said that to me. But actually, if we took care of ourselves, those things, even when they're said to us, we don't take them in that way, in a negative way, and we can actually see the lesson and the opportunity behind what's being said to us.
Correct. I think that made it very clear. Thank you. Thank you for,
Nice to
elaborated.
see you.
Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna.
Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you, Namrata Mataji. Very nice question. Prabhuji, I just want to ask you, like, taking care of ourselves means, can you give any example? Like, I'm not able to figure it out.
Taking care of ourselves, yeah. So sometimes you might need to take a 5-day, 6-day break to Eco Village when Guru Maharaj is giving a retreat. That will really be good for, it's like such a good way to take care of yourself. You go there, you hear from Guru Maharaj, you might just have to, during that week, we may not be able to do all our other things, this program, that program, we're organizing this Zoom call, this, that, just, and if we take care of ourselves in that way, then when we come back, we've got all this energy, we're revitalized. We've done an Ayurvedic massage, we've jumped in the pool, we've heard from Guru Maharaj, we've been to Mangalarti, and boom, we're ready to serve again. So, even Krishna says in the Gita, we have to balance this recreation. The problem is that in the material world, recreation is in the lower modes, and because recreation is in the lower modes, it drags us down. But when we do recreation in the mode of goodness, or even better in Krishna consciousness, then we get that energy back. So we can take care of ourselves in that way. Sometimes take care of yourself might just be going for a walk in nature. Just go for a walk in nature, just be with the mode of goodness. Look, in that sense, you're looking after yourself because it's good for you. And that way you can come back refreshed and being able to, if you're a mother, serve your children better. Because if you get caught up in the kitchen all day, kids come home, you serve them, boom, 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 and the day is over, you might think, where did I get any time for myself? But if you took 1 hour out and you went for a walk, you did something just for yourself, you meet a friend, and you go for a walk together, or you go by yourself, that will re-energize you. And by re-energizing yourself, then you come back and you serve everyone so much better. It's like, it's magical. So by taking care of ourselves, we actually take care of others better. Like that. Does that make sense?
Yes. Thank you, Prabhuji. Yeah, it's very much needed. So I'm going to ask Guru Maharaj 1 week leave.
One week, because 1 week leave from Zoom so that you can be 1 week in the personal association.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Jai.
Thank you so much. Scarlett Mataji, you want to ask anything?
Yes, you say about the retreat and so on. There are situations that I have very, very much difficulty to attend and so on in the retreat. I mean, is there any possibility to manage that without being in any retreat? Because I have both the economic problem and the physical problem that I can't be wherever. I go with walker, for instance. I can't never be in Vrindavan because Guru Maharaj says that it's impossible to go with the walker.
Yeah.
So I mean, there are places that I can't be. Maybe retreat in England or in United States, yes. But there is the economic problem. So can I do self-help without being in any retreat?
No, definitely. Like self-help, I was just giving an example when we have that much, but actually this is like, there's different types of break. Sometimes we need like a 1 week break so that we can deal with the rest of the year. But even on a more micro level, we need a 1 hour break so we can deal with the rest of the day. And so we should try and think of it like that. Like, what can I do for myself today that's going to nourish me, take care of, even if it's like you take some time out to go to read, or you take some time out to be with a friend, take some time out to do some journaling and self-reflection. All these things are nourishing for oneself and takes care of oneself. Take some time out to meet a mentor who can give us spiritual guidance. But take time which is for ourselves, so we feel re-energized, and so that we can be a better servant of Guru.
By mercy of Krishna, there was someone who paid the 2 days online retreat that I attend in Mahatma's retreat. So it was by Krishna's mercy that I got this as a gift from someone who doesn't know me, and she lives in US, and she paid for my
Wow.
yes, and I am so grateful. It helped very much, very much.
It seems
That's
that
why I want
Krishna
to
is
say-
very much reciprocating with your sincerity. You're very sincere, and because you're sincere through the devotees, Krishna reciprocates. And this just shows that Krishna is very much reciprocating with how sincerely you're trying to practice, how sincerely you're trying to connect to him. And he's reaching out to you. You're reaching out to him. And it's just things like this that just show that he's also reaching out to you. So it's
Very
very inspiring to hear, because yeah, it just shows how personal Krishna is. Thank you for sharing. Jai.
Does chanting come in the process of self-care, Prabhuji?
It does if you see it like that. It won't if you see it as a chore. So it's how you view your time. That's why that affirmations book is really good,
Yes,
because
yes.
then we'll stop seeing chanting like a chore. If we see chanting like a chore, then it's just another thing I have to do in the day. That's it. Oh my God, I've still got 10 rounds to do. And it's just like then, but if we wake up early and chant, it's very much self-care, because it's the time to chant. The thing is, the modes are in times. So after like 7, 8 in the morning, the mode of passion becomes more dominant. And because the mode of passion becomes more dominant, chanting then feels difficult, because you're working against the energy. But like during Brahma Muhurta time, it's naturally mode of goodness. So chanting is very natural at that time, because you're working with the energy. So it's good to do things as per when the way the modes are acting. So during the daytime, mode of passion, it's time for activity. Go and do your seva, go do your service, go do your job, those type. And then in the evening, when it's nighttime, mode of ignorance, that's the time we should be looking to wind down and go to sleep and utilize the mode in the right way. So yeah, chanting is definitely self-care in the morning. Afterwards, it feels a bit like, it can feel a bit difficult because the modes are against us, but we can still do things. Like if we still sit in one place, you put incense, you sit in front of your deities, you take the phone, you move it away, move the phone away, you dedicate for next half an hour or the next 1 hour, I will just chant. One thing I find is when I go to the temple, if I don't finish all my rounds in the morning, then I go to the manor. And if I go to the manor and just sit in the temple room and I chant, you can't even feel that it's mode of passion or whatever. It just feels like you're in the spiritual world. The deities are here, you can chant, other devotees are chanting. And then it is self-care. So it's how we approach the chanting. Will be, Krishna is he's clear, isn't he? He says, how you approach me, I reciprocate. So if you approach Krishna in the mood of connection, then it will be self-care, because he'll be reaching out to you in connection. If you approach Krishna in the mood of a chore, it will feel like a chore, and then it won't be self-care like that.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Yeah. Raj Prabhu, do you have time, Prabhuji? For more questions?
No, it's okay.
Okay. Raj Prabhu, please go ahead.
Hey Krishna Prabhu, thank you for your nice class. That's listening to the conversation and the Q&A. It's all very nice. Now, I was thinking of one thing all the way through. Everything that was being said, and I'm thinking of one thing all the way through. And it's like, I can see where everyone's coming at with their, like, I'm confused, I don't know what to do. And I'm thinking, just turn to the Lord. The Lord will tell you what to do one way or the other. The Lord will show you the way. You're thinking, I need time for myself. I need self-care. You can get that in an instant. Just turn to the Lord. He's there 24/7. Turn to the Lord. He's there to give you energy, to give you enthusiasm, to give you everything. Sometimes life slaps you around the face and drops fireworks in your lap, and you're thinking you've got horrible things ahead of you. Just turn to the Lord. And I just go, Lord Nityananda, if you want me to do this, then I am ready. And then it's just like, he's there just 24/7, whatever the question, whatever the problem, he's there. And sometimes it's just remembering him. Sometimes it's just worshiping him. If it's a big problem, just fall flat on the floor in front of him. I get instant relief and I get instant guidance. And I just think it's magic. I think every question in spiritual life can be answered just by turning to the Lord.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Raj Prabhu. Yes, turn to the Lord and turn to those that have turned to the Lord. So we can turn to you because you've turned to the Lord. Thank you, Raj Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Jai.
Okay. Okay, Prabhuji, thank you so much. I think any more questions? Yeah, I don't see any hand raised. So we'll stop here, Prabhuji. Thank you so much once again for your time and association. Such a wonderful class. Even you are always ready in a short notice. Thank you so much for that too. So I wish I would be like that someday. I'll try.
You're doing every day. This is mode of goodness. So consistent, so regular. What you're doing is really special. So thank you. And thank you for inviting me today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you all devotees for participating. We'll end up here. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripasindhubhyevacha. Vicharam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo.
Thank you very much. Wonderful
Thank you.
class.
Ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai Guru Maharaj ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Anjanam Prabhuji ki jai. Thank you.
Prabhupada ki jai.